couple of centre halves though, haven't they? They've had to use the full width of the squad when you think of Mosquera and Capier. Timber has moved inside.
Three. What close
straight at the goalkeeper. Whereas normally more clinical than this, it's a lovely ball. Those first time passes perfectly weighted. He's got to hit it quickly, but just didn't get an angle on it, Madueke. By Christian Norgard. Away by Eddie Nketiah. Cleared by Richards.
Dangerous.
To Jefferson Lerma. Mitchell's made one of those energetic runs of his, but Jurrien Timber has followed him out there. It's a gamble for Oliver Glasner that backfired, changing his entire team for the European game on Thursday in the hope of getting something from Ellen Road, where in fact they put in one of their more disappointing performances of the season. And a lot of it was down to a failure to deal with long throws. They're hoping that one of their own here might open up Arsenal. Lerma in charge. Punched up immediately in front of Kepa Arrizabalaga. First by Marino, then Jesus throwing a push, and that was spotted and given. Here's Calafiori. It's Calafiori who's been keeping Lewis Skelly out of the team in his preferred role as left back. It's a back here from William Saliba. Skelly finding Eza, whose acrobatics decided this fixture when it was played in the Premier League. This goal against his former club was the only one of that fixture 58 days ago. Yeah, just wonder whether they could get him and Odegaard into the same starting 11. So far it hasn't quite clicked.
North London forever.
Mention those two players again, it shows just how sport for choice Mikel Arteta is. Saliba. And Noni Madueke, we had some space there. There was an opportunity to have another run at Palace, but lapse gets the ball back to the visitors. FA Cup in May, Palace's one major trophy in their history. Tyrick Mitchell, part of that big day. Yes, of course, was a significant part of it, scoring the winning goal. Here's Norgard. Saliba. Awkward spell, hasn't it, for Arsenal generally? Fiore trying to reach out to Martinelli, but Benitez was on guard. They're just trying to get back to where they were a month or so ago. There were signs of it at Everton, where they played some really good football in the second half, hit the post a couple of times. Took a penalty to win that game. Here, they have been unbeatable, 9 home wins in a row, but
Come on, Palace.
here. Mitchell has been getting forward plentifully. Really had acres there, didn't he? Jurrien Timber is in field, way out of position. He tried to get involved in that, and look at the green grass in front of him. Didn't look entirely confident, and certainly the shot wasn't his best. Not prolific, but he has registered a couple this season, Tyrick Mitchell. One in the Premier League, one in the Conference League. Christian Norgard. So just off the ball involving Marino and Jefferson Lerma.
Nice first touch. It's blocked. Interesting, actually. Mikel Merino wearing the captain's armband. Would have thought that at the start of the season. Looks like he was. It looked like he was just going to be in and around that starting 11, but he's been invaluable at times.
He's been needed up front again, and always seems to respond to that role when he's played there. Here's Header. Here's Eza. Turning away from Eddie Nketiah. Now Gabriel Martinelli. Here's Calafiori. From Marino. Lewis Skelly. Palace were actually ahead by this stage of this fixture, at the very same stage of the competition last year, when Jean-Philippe Mateta bullied his way past Jakub Kiwior. It's going to be a more difficult task for him today, up against Saliba and Calafiori. Here's Norgard, who's played at the back in a previous round for Arsenal in this season's competition.
He doesn't get many outings, but he's a solid six, and you can depend on him when he is called upon.
Now Martinelli beyond Marino and Eza. And this is Eddie Nketiah. Just about coming back to Chris Richards. Good anticipation there by Calafiori to win it back for Arsenal. Lewis Skelly though losing out, but then recovering to deny Mateta the break. This is Jurrien Timber. Norgard. Here's Saliba. Lars Lewis Skelly. Calafiori. Saliba. Timber being held off by Mark Gahey, who gets it clear.
It can be easy to get down the sides of those central defenders. There's not much space to run into.
It's a system that Oliver Glasner is perfectly happy with. He's got players who are comfortable in it. Richards on the right side being one of them. Adam Wharton. Now Tyrick Mitchell has got plenty of licence to get forward. This is Lerma. Lacroix. Gahey. Mitchell. Expecting Mateta to have made the run. Palace's second quarter-final in the last 14 years. It's the same opponents last year that they lost. Through Gabriel Jesus' hat-trick, and Nketiah actually scored on an occasion for his own club. Here's Eza. Fiore to Saliba. So just looking for that killer ball. They managed it earlier on with Martinelli finding Madueke, who couldn't take the chance, and here goes Martinelli again, taking on Combo, whipping in one that potentially was dangerous. Jefferson Lerma, though, dealt with it.
Well, that might be the key, the ability to beat a man against the mass strokes of a defence that's defending deep. Whether it's Martinelli, Eza, somebody that can open things up, create space.
Goals they conceded the weekend, 2 from long throws, 1 from a corner, 1 from a penalty. So Palace will be increasingly watchful here against this corner being taken by their former player. As they're lifting it in, and it did create a bit of danger. Still has Martinelli, though. Gets the shot all wrong in the end, but there were a couple of touches in there that would have caused a few flutters in the Palace back line.
Yeah, few appeals for handball. Once the flick on by Norgard happens, it's going to be a little panicky for the defending team. Yeah, he's ducked into it. Ketchu, is it? No, sorry. Well, had we had VAR, Jefferson Lerma might have been in trouble, who knows? But we haven't.
Yeah, not until the semi-finals of this competition is VAR introduced. So they've got a clear handball penalty at the weekend, which earned them their 3 points.
Well, that was a clear handball.
That was Jake O'Brien wanting a goalkeeper's jersey for Christmas, wasn't it?
Should have caught it.
Here's Norgard. Here's Norgard. Now Martinelli. It's Lewis Skelly. Fiore now Saliba. Norgard.
Captain of the game is set. Arsenal playing in Palace's half. Palace just trying to counter when they do get the opportunity, which hasn't been many times.
Richards spotted them there and got a throw in that Mikel Arteta disputes. Lerma in the thick of it from that corner.
Yeah, it's a crowded penalty area. It just comes off the knee onto the arm. Would have been harsh, that.
So not even VAR on that one, we assume. Today, depending on the eyes of the officials, Stuart Atwell is the man in the middle, which is a good omen for Palace because he was also in charge of the FA Cup final they won. Okay, to get the pressure of Tyrant Mitchell here. Mitchell stands his ground.
It's good defender, isn't it? Tyrant Mitchell, lads talking about it in the studio. Made many mistakes on the back foot.
Opened up through set pieces at the weekend. Palace with concern facing the set-piece specialists of the Premier League. That has gone a long way. Eza. And from Lewis Skelly to Gabriel Jesus. Jesus. Guido holding him up. Richards ensuring he didn't break again for the Arsenal player.
You can imagine how much they spoke about conceding those set pieces since then. Leeds seems to be a little bit of scar tissue in the first game afterwards.
Well, he didn't hold back, did he, the Palace manager?
No, he wasn't happy. But his players have given him an awful lot this season.
It's their 29th game of the season and it's been catching up with them. And one of the additions they've made to the squad this season, Oliver Glasner feels was on the wrong end of a flailing elbow there.
Yeah, he certainly caught him, but just trying to fend him off in all fairness, and the fact Fino's a little bit smaller than Madueke does for him.
Touch that Combo really wanted. He's the latest player who they've turned to fill the big gap that's been left by Munoz.
Yeah, it's a big blow, isn't it? Munoz offered so much going forward as well. Got a goal in him. Really hit the ground running when he arrived at Palace. Such a good signing.
Daniel Klein can fill that role, but it is asking a lot of a 34-year-old to play regularly. They have also tried Sosa on that side too. Skelly. Out of Wharton. This is Mateta. William Saliba. Okay. Timber in trouble. Pino's nicked it away from him. Slides in Mateta. That's good defending from Saliba, acting as cover for Timber, who got himself tied in a bit of a knot there.
Yeah, Cardiff going to defend him, but Mateta's touch has deserted him so far in this match. Too much has gone away from him. And Mateta in full flow would have spelled big danger signs for Arsenal there.
Scored 3 goals against Arsenal in his career so far. Jean-Philippe Mateta, the last in the 2-all league draw here in April, where Eza scored against what was to turn out to be his future club. Over by Martinelli, and Madueke's in! And Palace defence did enough to prevent Jesus from getting an effort on target.
I thought it was a first time finish on there for Madueke instead of taking the touch. Lovely little dink. Once he'd taken the touch, there was a shirt pull in there as well. Just there. It's a good save though, that by Benitez. Reaction one from the keeper. Just studs it towards goal, Madueke.
Benitez didn't have too comfortable an experience last time he played Arsenal. He conceded 7 against them for PSV in the Champions League back in March. But certainly his colleague Tyrick Mitchell will have been happy that there was no potential for a VAR review there with that full on the shirt. I'm quite sure how that's going to go. Certainly not too happy about it, but on a couple of occasions now, it's Martinelli to Madueke that's been offering Arsenal the possibility of an opening goal. In the home side today, Combo's kick. Teta's reach. Two up ahead of him. Jesus. Go with Blakey, but Martinelli's onto it. Richards away. Jesus. Lewis Skelly. It's Saliba. Here's Lewis Skelly. Martinelli. Saved by Benitez to deny Jesus. He thought he was marking his comeback into the starting lineup with a goal then, but denied at full stretch by the goalkeeper.
I'm not sure Jesus could have done any more with a header down to the ground in the corner. It's a fine stop from Benitez, it really is.
Martinelli again, starting to cause problems. Cleared by Pino up to Mateta, but he found himself trapped. And here's Norgard. Lewis Skelly. Morgan.
Right, Martinelli, full of it at the moment.
Lewis Skelly was looking for him again, but it was a gap that was plugged by the American Chris Richards. Loose touch again for Mateta. It's Saliba. Madueke. It's Calafiori. Timber. Jesus showing for it, trying to lay off to Marino. There's that with Wharton. Timber's come a long way over.
Palace got to find a way of keeping the ball and getting the team up the pitch. Pino and Ketio in those number 10 positions have not been able to feature, not been able to get hold of it.
Arsenal keep coming. Here's Etta. Norgard. Madueke makes the run along the line. He was looking for him, but it went through via Lerma's head. You're up against Lewis Skelly, but Norgard emerges. Martinelli's cross. Madueke was flying in, and then as it's turned behind, Maguire.
Well, he gets a good round of applause from teammates, and he should do as well. It's lovely with a wing play this, and A deft clip to the far post. Madueke throwing himself at it. Just needs somebody at that far post. But that's the earlier save, and the header from Jesus looked for all the world like a goal. This in the block.
It is 0-0. It's a big tribute to the Argentine goalkeeper. Ripped and good. Mateta and Calafiore is over.
Created some chances, Arsenal. Just feels like they've let Palace off the hook with the opportunities. It's half decent. Not easy for a keeper like Benitez coming into the team, not playing hardly any football, certainly not in the Premier League, but he's right on his toes. Reactions top class.
The goalkeeper they've trusted their fate to in this competition. He's played every game in it. He was the hero of their first entry into it against Millwall, saving twice in the penalty shootouts. But other than that, it's only minutes for Palace this season to come in Europe. You may continue to be busy if this continues.
Yeah, they piled on the pressure. Arsenal won't be too displeased with the way his team are playing.
For any manager whose side is on top, as his currently is, there is always that nagging concern of not taking any of those chances. But he'd be delighted with the impact that Martinelli in particular is